In the last series of this video, we'll look at the present value of a perpetuity. And for a perpetuity, it means that the cash flow or the annuity amount will occur forever or indefinitely. Now, let's say Sally plans to put in $10,000 per year indefinitely, and the first payment starts 1 year from now into a family trust account that she expects to earn 8% per annum. So calculate the present value of her investment. So on the timeline basis, okay, we're going to see at time 0, of course, then at time 1, Sally will put in 10,000, and then 10 2, there'll be another 10,000. Okay, and this will go on in year 3, 4, and 5, and up to infinity. So if you want to find out the present value of her investment of $1,000 forever, so the formula for this PV will be the annuity amount divided by the interest rate. So that would give us $10,000. Okay, then we'll divide by 8%. So that will be equals to 125,000. Alright, of course, if you for some reason you can't remember the formula, of course you can use a financial calculator. Right, we'll of course switch this back to E&D. Then here, instead of using the formula, okay, we can use the TVM function. So our PMT will be $10,000. Okay, future value will be 0. Okay, interest rate will be 8%. Now the trick here is that your n has to be a large number to imitate a perpetuity. So I can, for example, put something huge like maybe 20,000. Right, and then I'll press compute PV. I'll get 125,000. So you just got to pick a huge number for n so that it replicates that indefinite payment. Now, for example 2, however, here the only difference is that Sally plans to put in $10,000, but the first payment starts today. Okay, and this goes on forever. So instead of the annuity payment in example 1, so the only difference here is that the $10,000 will start from time 0. Okay, and this goes on forever. So this is the only additional cash flow, okay, on top of example 1. So in this case, what we'll do is if you use the formula, okay, your PV, if you use this formula PMT over R, okay, take note that in the previous case, the first cash flow actually happens for 1 period from today. Okay, and that's how the formula actually works, so do be careful. So if I were to take PMT over R, which is 10,000 over 8%, okay, that will only be applicable for the cash flow from year 1 onwards up to infinity. Okay, so if I apply this again, I'll get 125,000, and this PV will be at time 0, which is the previous period, so that's 125,000. Then of course with this additional 10,000, we just have to add it in. So that will be equals to 135,000. Okay, so the total present value will be 135,000. So just be very careful on this small little detail. Now if you're using the financial calculator, all you have to do is just set a second PMT, change this to BGN. Okay, and then of course you can just compute PV, and then you get 135,000. So the cash flow will take into account of the first cash flow that happens immediately or now at time 0. Now, last example. Now, let's say Sally plans to put in that 10,000 per year, okay, but the first payment starts 3 years from now. Okay, so we have 0, and then we have 3, we have 1 and 2. Okay, so again, the $10,000 starts in year 3, and in year 4, and it goes on forever. Now, if I were to apply the formula again, which is PV equals to PMT over R, okay, I will take the $10,000, which is in year 3, the first cash flow, divide by 8%. So the result of this would again be 125,000, but the significance here is that it will take the cash flow from year 3 onwards, and it will discount all these cash flows back to the previous year, okay, which is in this case year 2. So this 125,000 is at year 2. So if you want to find the present value in year 0, which is today, then you will have to discount this number back by 2 years. So I will take 125,000 divided by 1.08 to the power of 2. So there will be $107,167.07. So be very careful when you apply the formula. Make sure you know where the PV goes back to.